Hello from Cleveland, Julia Westerman alongside Rick Henry ahead of the national championship game between Iowa and South Carolina. We've got a good one on our hands this afternoon.
Yeah, we've got the great team, the Gamecocks, undefeated, 37-0, going against the team that ended their perfect season last year when they defeated them in the Final Four, Iowa and Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, she is the face of women's basketball right now, the all-time scorer women, among men in Division I, NCAA hoops, and she is a superstar. So we'll see how well the Gamecocks can keep her in check. Last year, she burned USC for 41 points. That can't happen today, or else it'll be a long game for South Carolina.
Well, that's been such a narrative over the past couple of days. This isn't the same team as last year. Obviously, everyone's saying this is the rematch, this is the revenge tour for South Carolina, but this is a completely different team. Caitlin Clark touched on that yesterday, how South Carolina doesn't stick to just 5 regular starters. They can start basically anyone. The depth is to their favor. That's been one of the storylines of the entire season. And specifically for Raven Johnson, she's trying to seek some revenge as well after Caitlin waved her off in last year's Final Four, saying she's no problem, don't have to worry about her. Raven's worked on her craft. She's gotten better, and she's ready to take on that matchup today. I imagine she will be the one on Caitlin this afternoon.
Yeah, talking about it's a different team. Last year against Iowa, South Carolina just couldn't hit any threes. I mean, the starters, no one came in off the bench. And so the Iowa defenders, they just laid off them. They said, hey, go ahead and shoot. And they collapsed their defense around Aaliyah Boston. She got an early foul trouble. Wasn't really a factor in that game. Well, they can't do that this year because in the starting lineup, you have Tahina Pow. And Raven Johnson, she has improved her three-point shooting. Then you bring Tessa Johnson in off the bench. The true freshman, in my opinion, is the best pure shooter on the squad. And Malaysia Fulwiley, she's like the Energizer Bunny, but she can also drop the three-pointers on him. And then they have to worry about, Camila Cardosa, the 6'7", All-American center. And
Iowa doesn't have anyone to really compare to her.
No, they have some, accomplished big people down low, but no one is like 6'7" and has the wingspan.
They have some length, they don't have that length. So that will definitely work to their favor once they get inside. Camilla is so good at getting those offensive rebounds and putting it back in, getting points for South Carolina. So that will be a key for today. But hey, this is going to be a fun matchup. I think this is the one that everybody wanted to see. This is the one that, ESPN wanted to broadcast. This is the pinnacle of women's basketball right now.
Yeah, I think it's the matchup that longtime followers of women's basketball want to see. And then you have the newcomers, and, they hear about South Carolina, and it seems like the whole nation knows a little something about Caitlin Clark and what she's been doing. And also, too, I want to talk about the bench factor. USC's reserves, they average about 40 points a game, and Iowa's coming off a tough matchup in their Final Four game. And so their starters had to play a little more than probably they would have liked to. And also being the number 1 overall seed, South Carolina haven't played earlier on Friday. They get a little more rest time. So we'll see if fatigue will be a factor too. I think it's going to be a very intriguing matchup. I'm picking South Carolina to win.
I would pick South Carolina as well. That would end off just an incredible season that they didn't even expect. That would make a 38-0 season. They would become just the 5th women's program all-time to finish a season undefeated and win the national championship. So that game is tipping off at 3 o'clock here in Cleveland. Give you a quick view of the court here. And yes, we'll have all of the highlights and reaction coming up at 6, 10, and 11. But for now, signing off from Cleveland. Let's play some basketball.